And here we are once again, another episode of Soundcheck. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. It's been awesome to see people tuning in like week after week and give comments and stuff. It's really dope. Adam, how you feeling today? I like your little sweater you got on.
Hey, thanks, Pops. Yeah, wearing a good comfy brown sweater here. Just feeling cozy. Not too many notes on it.
Yeah, I've
Caught
seen
me
you
a
wear it
little off
before, but
guard. Caught me a
I've
little off
seen you
guard
wear
with the
that.
sweater comment. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay, here's the thing. I've seen you wear that before, but for some reason right now it just struck me and it just looks really comfortable and soft.
You want it?
No, I'm just happy that you have it. I'm
You
happy that
can
you have
have it, bro.
something.
Take it.
No, I got my own. I got some stuff.
Okay.
I appreciate it though.
I do feel cozy. I do feel really good in it right now. So thank you.
Um, I know I have a random idea to just talk about this. It is something that you said on a previous episode that just kind of struck a chord with me, and I was like, I'm gonna save that. And we're gonna do a little episode about it. So here we are.
Okay.
Um, what you said and what you've said many times, which I don't necessarily agree with, or I don't necessarily disagree with, but I just think there's like a devil's advocate point of view that I'd like to play and just see where we go.
Okay.
But your statement or like theory is like basically taking the path of least resistance.
Mhm.
And you described that like the examples that you gave, if you remember,
Mhm.
you know what I'm talking about? Can
Yep.
you hit me with them?
Yeah, it was comparing your path of least resistance to things that happen in nature, such as smoke from a fire. It goes into the air in its path of least resistance, and water from a stream. Water never flows up a hill. It always takes the path of least resistance. So I was saying that um, sometimes you're on the right path in life or you're doing the right things whenever things are generally coming to you easy.
Mhm.
And it feels like there's little to no resistance that, you know, sometimes nature shows you that you're on your right path if you're
Yeah.
on a path of least resistance. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that concept. Do you remember like the first time you heard of that? Was it in a book somewhere? Can you pinpoint like what
Yeah,
your brain?
can't pinpoint exactly. It may have been in this book that I read all the time called Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. Um I'm not sure which book I read that from. I definitely did read that from a book,
Yeah,
but I'm not sure which one.
fair enough. I was just curious. It makes sense to me because when you're doing something and it feels like it's coming easy, it feels right. It feels like what you should be doing, right? All that makes sense.
It may be from the 7 laws, 7 spiritual laws.
Got it.
It may
That
be
makes
from that
that
one.
sounds
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
something that would be from that.
Yeah.
Um, and again, I don't necessarily disagree, but I think it can be confusing to people that are like seeking advice when they hear that, and then the other side of it is like, "Yo, shit's gonna be mad hard. You gotta kinda fight through. You gotta keep grinding. You gotta, like, trust the process." Those almost feel like opposite pieces of advice,
Mhm.
you know? So, I'm just wondering, like, how you think about that because I know you as someone who does work hard, and you don't just give up on things if they don't work right away, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, how do you decide this is worth fighting through, or I need to pivot because the universe is telling me this is a path that is too resistant and I need to go with something that's clicking for me.
Yeah, that's a good question. I apply that I apply that mindset to the details of things, and I feel like I don't apply it so much to big picture things. So, like, in my life, I want to be a music artist. I wanna be a successful music artist. I wanna grow a fan base. I wanna tour. I wanna do all these things. That's really, really difficult. But to get that done, I don't think I would ever hit a roadblock and be like, "Man, this is so tough to do that I just need to, like, pick a whole different career path." It's more so like, "Okay, if the music isn't working right now or if I'm not growing the way that I would like to, maybe it's something that I'm doing within music. Maybe it's a detail of the bigger picture. Maybe it's the
Mm,
type of music I'm making. Maybe it's the people I'm surrounded with. Maybe it's the merch I'm making. Maybe I need to hire a designer. Maybe I'm not as good as I think I am yet. Maybe I need to go, I don't know, take a class or something. So I don't think it's not a I don't see it as a give up theory. I see it as a reroute theory.
mhm.
And
Makes sense.
anytime that things naturally happen easily is maybe just a sign that you're on the correct route. Um, so I don't think it's yeah, I don't see it as a give up
So it's
factor. I
more
see it as a reroute factor.
like on a macro level, don't trust the path of least resistance
Yeah,
because
yeah. If I
the
wanted
easiest
to
thing to do would not even just work. You shouldn't work in music. It's mad hard.
No, yeah, if I wanted to take the path of least resistance, I'd have 18 kids and get like government
God, that doesn't
assistance.
seem that easy though.
No, I'd get like government assistance and I'd just have someone else raise them or so, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like I'd sit around on my ass and like fake
right.
a fake disability or so I'd like break my arm so I can't work or something. You know what I mean? I feel like
Yeah.
that's like there is a path in the world where you don't do shit and you still succeed. I don't want to make this a political podcast, but you know,
Yeah.
I'm someone who like you wake up and you have ambitions about something and you want to be something in the world and you want to go succeed and you want to go chase it. That like macro level of I'm gonna be something, no matter how hard it is to be that thing that you wanna be, you can't
Mhm.
let anything shake you from wanting to
Right,
be that, you
right,
know? No
right.
matter what it is, no matter how hard this is, how it feels like it's not going my way, if that's what you've decided you really want out of life, you gotta get it by any means necessary, you know? But I think
Facts.
the path of least resistance thing is more so, yeah, just
It's
in
on a
the
micro level.
yeah,
It's like
it's on a micro level of
the the
figuring out
details, the nuances to get to the, like, from step 34 to step 35 might have to be rerouted if something is like, I've been running into a wall over and over and over again. Oh, okay, if I turn left a little, maybe there's a clear path that'll help me get to level 100 in 10 years.
yeah. It's like those puzzles, you know those puzzles where it's like start here and finish here, and the whole time you have to wind your way through it, and you get through it, and you hit a little roadblock, and you're like, "Ah, fuck, that's not the way. I gotta go back. I gotta go this way." But the path of least resistance, you never will hit a roadblock.
Mhm.
You keep going to the next step and the next step, and then finally you made it to the end.
Makes a ton of sense. And again, I I don't come from a place of, like, disagreeing with that. I just when you said that on the other episode, I was listening to it, and for some reason, I was in, like, the shoes of a younger me or someone that's, like, searching for answers, and they're just like, "Well, damn, like, this is mad hard, so, like, how could this be the path of least resistance? This is
Right.
literally so resistant. I'm fucking making mistake after mistake after mistake. I'm getting no after no after no." So the path of least resistance would just be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do something else because this isn't the right path for me." You know,
Right.
so
Yeah.
having that clarity, uh, on, like, when and why to apply that, I feel like could be super helpful for somebody listening to this.
Yeah. I absolutely agree that it's really important to clarify that because it can come off as just like give up advice almost,
Yeah,
you
because
know?
when you say it, I find myself agreeing with you, but then I also am always the guy that's like, "You gotta keep fucking going no matter what." Like, fuck the bullshit. If you made the decision, you're gonna hear no 1,000 times. You're gonna make mistakes you have to learn from. This is gonna take 10 years type like, I'm all about that too, and,
Yeah.
like the hustle culture thing that I feel like sometimes gets a bad rep.
Yeah.
I'm, like, about that though, like, you gotta wake up and grind, you gotta do the work, you gotta eat shit, like, it's part of the process. It's
Yeah.
not supposed to be easy, which, again, just feels like the exact opposite of advice of what you were saying, but
Yeah.
I think they work in tandem when they're applied correctly, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a part to it as well that is like um I guess another good example of like um early on I think I was interested in music, but I was interested in a handful of things. I also early on was like really interested in acting. Like, I thought for a period of time, like, maybe I'll try to be an actor, maybe I'll try to film some stuff, but music opportunities fell in my lap naturally and kept continuously inspiring me of like, "Whoa, that's cool, I gotta chase that. Oh, there's a show that someone might book me on, let me go do that." And things kind of by luck or just happenstance fell into my lap with music where I gradually and gradually drifted more into, "Man, this is actually what I love and this is what I'm going for." Whereas I think just as easily at one period of time I could have been on vacation and a director could have ran into me in public and been like, "Dude, you're perfect for this role." And I would have been like, "All right, let's do a movie." And then that movie could have blown up and then I could have been an actor. I could have been putting my whole time and energy into like, how can I be this great
Yeah.
actor and play these great roles? I think that there's just signs that happen in everyone's life about like these things are coming to me almost unnaturally easy and they're just falling in my lap, and I think it's just a nudge of, like, this is the right way to go, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, that's
Along
I
with
think
that,
that's more
though,
so what I mean or how I see it at least.
yeah, that makes sense. Um, Along with that, though, like, you kinda have to have already made that decision to some degree that that's what you're interested in, that's what you want. Because if those music opportunities came up and you just, like, had no musical talent or interest, you would've just been like, "Nah, I don't wanna do that. Like, what the hell? Why was this even in front of my face?" You know?
Yeah,
So,
but I don't
it's
think they
interesting
would've
how you
came up.
can
I
it's
think
interesting how you can kinda, like, not manifest them, but in a sense, like, put the energy out into the universe and then things happen for you,
yeah. Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Um, for some reason, this made me think of PJ Tucker. I don't know if you know who that is, and
Basketball player?
yeah, most people probably don't know who that is or give a fuck,
Oh, yeah.
but he's had a long NBA career. He just retired recently, but he had the craziest path to get to where he was. He went to Texas with Kevin Durant in college, um, got drafted to the Raptors, got in some trouble, got kicked out of the league, like, really quickly, and I feel like a lot of people right then would have just been like, "Alright, I'm giving up. I made a little bit of money. I, like, achieved my dreams, whatever." But he was so determined to get back to where he had to go. He ended up playing in, like, I forget, I don't know the exact details, but 4 or 5, 6 different countries for, like, years to kinda, like, prove himself to get back into the NBA, and most, like, casual fans, like, don't know about PJ Tucker and thought he was a rookie in, like, 2017 because he reappeared on the Rockets and with the Harden team and all that, and we're just like, "Oh, PJ Tucker, yeah, new guy," but, like, he was already, like, 30, and he was, like, a rookie kind of because
Right.
he was, like, gone, and I'm sure there was a bunch of times where he thought to himself, "I gotta keep fucking grinding no matter what," but every time there was, like, a roadblock, so maybe playing in Australia wasn't where he was supposed to be, and maybe there was a sign where, "Okay, now I need to go play in Europe somewhere and do this or play for this team," or "I tried out for this G League team, didn't make it because of my position," or, like, all these details that go into the politics of building a basketball roster, like, which is not what we're talking about, but, there's just certain roadblocks, but the long path he stayed on, got back in the NBA and, like, stuck around as a role player, and he was never a star. He, like, didn't even really shoot the ball. He was just, like, always on good teams, setting screens and, like, being a vocal leader and all these things, for another 10 years after he was already out and, like, basically counted out by the entire basketball world. Um, so it made me think of him because I think he's an example of someone that applied both of those things at the same time. Like, he never gave up and he ate shit and probably went through a bunch of bullshit, whether it was political or, physical, whatever, but also pivoted a shit ton of times in order to get to, like, the end goal, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good example or if it was
I
just
think it
a
is.
thing, but
No,
to
I
me,
think
it
it's a great
was
example.
I
Yeah.
understand what his story was, but hopefully
Yeah.
I communicated that well.
No, I think that's a great example of just, like this isn't working for me. Let me find something that's still in the lane of what I love, but it works a little bit and it's kind of inching me a little bit closer to where I want to be. Yeah. Eventually you wake up and you're there and you're like, "Ah, shit."
Yeah.
Um yeah, I guess it is a little confusing and needs a little clarity. Maybe I need a little more clarity on it all too. I just kind of know what that like saying means to me, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's probably way I'm sure there's way more out there about
Well, dude, we're not philosophers. We're
yeah.
we're we're not the guys with the answers.
Yeah, we're two
But
dumbasses with a mic.
but I know there are people that listen to this that are like, seeking guidance on some level, whether they're musicians or not. And I just don't want to like one episode say one thing and then the next episode say another thing, and then have them be like, if they're really intentive on like the way they're listening, they'll be like, well, what the
Yeah.
fuck? Which one is it? You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
the answer is both. And like also
Yeah.
the answer is don't listen to us because we're fucking idiots. But also there could be things that you can apply to, what you got going on.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah, just thought that was interesting to like kind of dive more into.
I think the answer is both, and I think in general with any form of like spiritual advice that I've given or received or spiritual information that I've read about or any sort of self-help book or anything, I have always viewed it as that most of that shit is not meant to be applied 24/7, 100% of the time. I think most of the spiritual stuff is meant to be like use it when you need it, you
Mm,
know?
mhm.
I think there's times in your life where, yeah, you take the path of least resistance and this feels like it's calling to me and this feels it's pulling to me this way and there's something at the end of this tunnel that I'm gonna get out of this. And I think there's other times where it's like, this is really fucking hard. I'm fighting an uphill battle, but I want what's at the top of this hill. So I'm gonna keep pushing. I'm gonna keep climbing.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to like blanket statement spiritual advice, because I think it's meant to be you're meant to use that advice wherever your spirit is at or wherever you're at in your life. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, yeah, that is a really good point for the viewers of like anytime there's some sort of yeah, guidance or advice on this podcast, I think you should take a step back and say, is this for me at this moment? And allow the answer to be no if the answer is no,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
But also, like, not to be crude, but like, don't just use that as an excuse to be a pussy.
That too.
If it's for you and you're just like, nah, I'm gonna take the path of least resistance because you're gonna regret not going for it and sticking with it. If it actually is like in your soul something that you believe in and want to achieve or whatever, like even if it's like in your relationship, you get in an argument and you're just like, I'm breaking this off because this is just way too hard. Like this
Right.
shouldn't be work. But like, dude, maybe it is. Maybe it should be. Maybe like that's what is needed in this moment, you
Yeah.
know? So
Some
same thing.
girl some girl's gonna message the podcast and be like, "My boyfriend broke up with me because you told him to take the path of
Yeah.
least resistance, you fucking asshole."
I hope not. Um, or I hope so, if that's what was true to him.
I
You
take
know
the
what I'm
path
saying?
of least resistance and hit that block button real quick.
Yeah, easily. I'm not answering that DM. It's not my problem.
No.
'Cause I already said don't listen to us, so that's why I do that, just in
Yeah.
case. Um, but yeah, I think you just have to, like, understand what's true to you and for you, and then apply both of those things. It's kinda, like, really hard to understand, but I think when you know type of thing,
Yeah.
you know?
Absolutely. Agreed. Agreed.
Um, what what was the time that you feel like you took the path of least resistance that, like, really paid off?
Moving back home. When I was living with you in LA, I was going super broke and, you know, because of my own bad decisions, didn't get a job out there. I thought I was just gonna move to LA and blow up and somehow make all this money off music. Didn't happen. I just spent
Yeah.
all the money that I had saved up.
Mhm.
And I could have very easily went and got a day job in LA. I could have worked 2 jobs. I could have done X, Y, and Z. I could have sold my car and got a cheaper car. I could have done all sorts of things to probably fight through it and make it work. But
And you would have done that because you believed in your ability to do music full time and figure it out.
yes,
But the path
because
to do that was just a different path.
exactly.
I think that's a perfect example.
Yeah. So the main goal never changed. I still wanted to
Right.
create music. I still wanted to be a successful artist. Just because LA didn't work out for me didn't mean, man, this is too hard. I'm gonna go do something else. Fuck music. I'm gonna
Right.
go work on something else. Macro idea of I'm gonna be a successful musician, that didn't budge at all. It was
Yeah.
just I need to reroute to somewhere easier. I need to go back home and I need to like yeah,
Yeah, your bills
it's
are
just a
lower,
reroute.
you're more comfortable, you're around your family. It's not you giving up on music, it's giving up on living in LA for now
Yeah.
or maybe ever, like, depending on how things shake out, you know?
Yeah, because it was super hard for me to do that in the moment,
Yeah.
and it was, it paid off more for me to take a path of least resistance, move back home. Like, looking back now, I think that was one of the only reasons I was able to get in the mindset of making Evergreen.
No, for sure.
Evergreen would have
Yeah,
never, ever happened had I not moved back home, you know?
absolutely. Yeah, that makes
So,
sense. That's a perfect
that's
example of it.
yeah, I think that's an example of it for me. How about you, big dog? Do you
I
have
don't
any
know, that I was
examples?
just thinking about that. I feel like I haven't done that. I feel like I always take the hardest fucking path because I'm
Yeah,
always like, "Fuck that, we're gonna do it. We're gonna figure it out."
yeah,
Um, the only thing that can come to mind is, uh, when I quit the basketball team in college, but I think that wasn't even taking the path of least resistance, that was my goals changing and, like, realizing that I'm giving up on playing basketball for a living. That was, like, actually in my head when I was in college. I was like, "I'm gonna play professional basketball."
yeah,
Fucking insane thought. Uh, that's what it was. So I don't think it was that. I think it was just shifting, "Okay, now I'm gonna do this." And then once I put that in my mind, that's all I've just been locked in on that. And I feel like in some ways, maybe I should have taken the path of least resistance, especially in the early years, but I was just like, "Nah, this is supposed to be hard. This is what I'm gonna do." Maybe I wasn't, like, spiritually aware enough to, like, put those things in in the queue, you know?
yeah, you know, I don't know. I mean, seems like you're happy with your life and the way things turned out now, so,
No, I
every
definitely am.
yeah,
Yeah, um it's hard to think of an example, though, and maybe that's why I thought of, like, the other side of it because 'cause I'm like, "Yeah, but I don't wanna tell people to just, like, give up," because like, that's
yeah,
not the answer, and I don't think that's what you were saying, but,
yeah,
uh, it's good convo. It's good.
yeah,
Hopefully, this is interesting to people that are listening, and we're not just
yeah,
rambling and repeating ourselves.
yeah. Don't give it up. Unless you're coming for Adam Yokum's spot, then shit, give it up. Good luck. Or Dylan Reese's spot. Yeah, right. No.
Um,
Um, yeah, I'm really happy we brought it up. Um, and I don't wanna just be a broken record here, but yeah, it's good to seek clarity and, like, blanket statements like that because I think it's really easy, and there's a lot of it online. There's so much, spiritual jargon
yeah,
online where,
yeah.
like, I'm a spiritual guy. I see some of the shit online, I'm like, "What the fuck are you guys talking about?" Your like, head is fully in the clouds,
Yeah, it's
you
just
know?
fluff. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So I think it's important to like if you're giving spiritual advice or something like that, it's important to be ready to dissect it and dive into like, what do you mean by that? You know what I
Right.
mean? Or else I think there's a bunch of people that are seeking help and that are seeking advice and they get those blanket statements and like don't know what to do with all of it or how to navigate it. I don't think it's not actually helping anybody, you know?
Mhm,
So
mhm.
um, yeah, I hope that none of the shit that I say exists in that space of like, what is all this bullshit what's all this bullshit that I'm reading, you know?
Yeah, no, I don't think it comes across as that at all.
Yeah.
I just think it's important to see both sides and just know when to apply it, like we said.
Yeah.
Um, one thing that I'm kind of thinking of in real time is when I split my catalog and created the Ellis page, like maybe that could be an example because I was removing like 70% of the music that I had put out in my lifetime off of like my main Spotify and like social media and stuff.
Yeah.
And it felt like a giant step backwards in some capacity
Mhm.
because I had like 150,000 monthly listeners and a huge catalog. And it just something clicked where I was like, this is what I need to do. This makes sense. This is a clear path. I don't know if it was more resistant because it was or least resistant because it was a lot of work to like do that. But once it was all set up, everything felt easier for me to do and understand. And I wasn't so like stressed out about like, how can I fit this into my brand or like any of that stuff, you know? Whereas like,
Yeah.
you know, I have less like monthly listeners like on each page total, but it's like it all kind of equals the same thing now that I have like these different pipelines to be creative, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so that maybe that's an example. I don't really know, but yeah, I was just
I
thinking
think that is an
out loud.
example. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Did it feel like things did it feel like that workflow flew easier, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
I think you're taking a path of least resistance, if not least, then lesser resistance.
Yeah, it took a while for things to click, but yeah, once everything was set up and I had a clear vision, it was just like, yeah, that's what I needed to do. Like it was a little bit of a reroute. That
Yeah.
what we kept using the word pivot, and that was like a big one for me in my life and career. It was kind of like a drawing a line in the sand moment of like
Yeah.
really understanding, like, okay, I'm doing something different right now.
Yeah.
Or even like managing you guys, you know, definitely it's not easy to do, but it just felt natural. Like nobody told me that I need to do it, but it was just like, yo, I think I should be doing that. And
Yeah.
like, you know, I've got more on my plate, but now I have different income streams and like I'm helping you guys figure it out. Like it's a good thing that it's happening, you know, so it's another pivot, more of like an addition, I guess, to like what I was doing, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just talking out loud.
Yeah. One time I was talking to my brother about the path of least resistance, and like a week later, we were sitting around a campfire. I think it was around like Thanksgiving, and um the smoke was kind of just hitting my sister. And there's the saying of smoke follows beauty or whatever it is.
Mhm.
And instead of him saying that, like she just kept moving and the smoke kept hitting her. And my brother was like, "Yeah, I guess she's not resisting hard enough."
Yeah. I don't think that's what that's
It,
supposed to mean.
yeah, as if like the smoke is chasing her because she is the path of least
Right,
resistance.
right,
And my brother's like, "You just have to resist it."
right. You have to tell the smoke not to come near you.
Yeah, it's like, why aren't you resisting the smoke at all? It knows to follow you. Um,
That's funny.
Silly stuff. But yeah. What do you think, Dylan? You got any more on
I don't think so. I just felt like that was valuable and hopefully interesting. But it helped me understand it more too because I wasn't only playing devil's advocate to you. I was like, you know, trying to figure out like, yeah, I agree with both of these things and how can that be true? So,
Yeah,
yeah, talking it through makes sense. It makes more sense to me and like just choosing when to apply each uh kind of approach. I think it's helpful. But yeah,
yeah,
good stuff.
yeah. Good stuff, brother. Thanks for
Um
listening, you guys. This is the Soundcheck podcast. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Yeah, I don't know if you guys know who we are or not. I'm actually Adam Yokum. This is Dylan Reese. That's basically what I did whenever we had the little lag out moment that that I think you're gonna clip out maybe. So actually maybe now people have no fucking clue what I'm talking about.
there was a little bit of a technical difficulty where my thing just stopped recording and then I had to jump back in.
This is why
And
you do the outros normally. I think
listen,
I
dude,
suck at them.
listen. We're amateur podcasters, okay? We're being consistent. We're seeing it through. But shit happens. There's gonna be problems. We don't got a producer. I'm just clicking buttons here in my fucking room. So
We'll figure it
whatever.
out one day.
But yeah, we appreciate y'all listening, and we'll see you next week. Much love.
Peace.